Hey Archie, this is a great new pad you got here, man. Yeah. It's so great to have my own place at last. So when are you gonna break free of your parents, like me? Hey, like never, man. I've got it sweet with my folks. I'm staying put for another decade at least. Come on, Wayne. You're 24 years old, college is done, dude. Time to move on from being a kidult and grow up by becoming financially independent. No way, man. Times have changed. According to the ONS, 26% of young adults now live with their parents. It's now normal to live at home in your 20s. And this reflects the fact that relationships between children and their parents have changed. Like how, man? Well, our parents grew up in a hierarchical household, and found freedom outside, which meant they left home as soon as they could in their 20s, whereas our generation experienced a more contradictory childhood. We grew up being more tightly regulated by paranoid parents. But at the same time our home life was more child-centered and democratic, meaning we are less concerned about escaping the family home. No, Wayne, I think you may be overanalyzing this. Surely it's economic factors that have determined your fate. What are you talking about, Archie? Firstly, just like millions of other people, the fact that you've spent 3 years at university means you got lots of debt. Secondly, the recent recession meant you suffered from that 6 months of unemployment. And finally, there's the fact that the average first-time house is 5 times the average salary compared to only 3 times in the 1990s. And so what you're saying is that really I'm not choosing to live at home with my parents, I'm steered into it by the economic circumstances in which I find myself. I guess you're right. While I do have a choice to get my own pad, I wouldn't be able to participate in the society of consumers after I'd paid the rent. Yes, in sociological terms, you're experiencing what's called bounded reflexivity. Sure, you have choice, but some of the choices you make, and often the ones you don't question, restrict your freedom in other ways. For example, the fact that you've chosen your averagely paid career, and a moderately high level of consumption means you have no choice but to live with your parents for the foreseeable future. That's bleak, man, and freaking annoying. Now you draw my attention to it. Still, at least there's plenty of other people in the same boat. And there's no longer a social stigma attached to living with your parents in your 20s. As to the first point, not everyone is in the same boat. My parents just cashed in their pension pot and gave me a fat wad towards the deposit on this pad, dude. And as to the lack of social stigma, let's go chat up a few young ladies and see how many of them are happy about going back to your room in your parents' house.